Please raise your hand if someone you love, or if comfortable yourself, has experienced intimate partner violence, partner abuse, or domestic violence. Look around you. For the people in the front, look behind you. Look at everyone in this room who's been impacted directly or indirectly by intimate partner violence. Now, for everyone who isn't raising their hand, please do so now. You know the people around you. You know the people in this room, and you've interacted with them today. And because you now know me, my name is Samuel Allen Smith. Not only am I an intimate partner violence researcher, educator, and advocate, I myself am a victim survivor. I started as a freshman at Towson University. I just moved out of my parents' house for the first time and into a dorm. I began testosterone for my gender transition, and I even left my high school sweetheart. And then I met someone new, and I began a new relationship, and it was everything I could have wanted and more. It was too good to be true. First, these little spats started, then bigger fights. Then I became isolated from loved ones, from family, from friends. I wasn't able to go to work or school. I wasn't allowed to. These bigger fights turned into physical and sexual abuse. And towards the end of the relationship, I almost lost my life. I had to take a gap year. I had mental and physical impacts from the abuse. I had to go inpatient at a psychiatric facility once, and then I was in a day program for psychiatric illness 3 times. After leaving the psychiatric day hospital, I was in outpatient therapy multiple times a week, and I had to have several procedures to correct physical damage caused by the abuse. And during that year, where I was at home and I was isolated further because of the pandemic, I started researching. And I started reading about intimate partner violence. But most of the research out there and most of the resources was about cisgender women, meaning women who were assigned female at birth, mainly cisgender heterosexual women, being abused by cisgender heterosexual white men. And while those stories are imperative to share, they didn't fit my story, and I felt further isolated. There were aspects of their abuse that didn't reflect with mine, and there were aspects of my abuse that weren't reflected in their stories. Furthermore, when stories about men being abused were shared, and research came up with theories as to why it occurred, I saw men being blamed, saying that they began perpetrating the abuse and that the female perpetrators were reacting to abuse. I was raised with a go-getter attitude, though. My parents raised me to believe that if something wasn't getting done that I wanted to get done and I needed it to get done, I'd do it myself. So I chose to go back to college. I chose to go back to my undergraduate program and continue my double major in psychology and women's studies, my minor in LGBT studies, and to begin researching intimate partner violence in the trans community. And when I began researching formally at an academic institution, the research I found was shocking. According to the 2015 US Transgender Survey, 54% of transgender Americans will experience intimate partner violence at some point in their life, higher than the national average. Furthermore, transgender individuals who are multiply marginalized are at an even higher risk of intimate partner violence, with Black and Indigenous transgender Americans at the highest risk of intimate partner violence compared to any other race in the trans community. And we have theories as to why this occurs, as to why marginalization increases that risk. And when you think about it, intimate partner violence and marginalization are both power and control dynamics. In intimate partner violence, one person has control and power over another. And in marginalization, one group of people, in this case, cisgender people, has power and control over another group of people, in this case, trans people. Furthermore, according to the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, College-aged individuals and college students are the highest age demographic to experience intimate partner violence. So when you combine these factors of marginalized identity and college age or college experience, we have to look at how we address intimate partner violence. Because currently there are resources available for college students experiencing intimate partner violence who need to seek help and need to get out. But oftentimes there's little help or no help to navigate these resources. And when somebody is marginalized, like a trans victim survivor, they may experience discrimination further when seeking these resources, or even less help when trying to get these resources. We also need to think about what we consider resources to help people get out. A trans person may not want a licensed clinical psychologist who doesn't understand their experiences or stories, or isn't trained in working with trans people. They may prefer a peer-to-peer mentor, such as another trans person or another college student. They may need help seeking economic stability or stable housing before they can leave their abuser, as many of us, as also shown by the 2015 US Transgender Survey, are more likely to be lower income and experience houselessness. I myself had to find a new endocrinologist when I left my abuser. When I look back at how I left my perpetrator, it wasn't the traditional resources that helped me necessarily. It was having a supportive family that I'm incredibly lucky to have that took me back in after my freshman year and that cared for me. It was a priest who, during confession, recognized that I had just experienced abuse and was offering to help me get out and offering to help me get the help that I needed and be a listening ear. It was jobs that let me take time off around the yearly anniversary of leaving my abuser. Or when my nightmares got so bad I couldn't sleep at night, taking time off so I could rest during the day. Or letting me telework when my flashbacks got so severe that I felt leaving my house was an insurmountable task. These are not resources that every trans person has. I was lucky I was able to go back to college. Not every trans person can do that. Many victim survivors, trans and cisgender, leave college and then never return. They're put on academic probation. They may leave college due to their injuries or cognitive impacts. And they may die by intimate partner homicide or by suicide before they can begin or complete their degrees. Lives are cut short and livelihoods are cut short as well. But if every single one of us in this room can put a mirror up to the culture that perpetuates and normalizes this violence, we can allow trans victim survivors to take control of their narrative. And we can work towards eradicating intimate partner violence once and for all. Because I was able to do that, because I was able to take control of my story, I am able to be a megaphone for trans victim survivors and let them know that they aren't alone. And to let those of you in the audience who've experienced this or experiencing it, that you are not alone either. I was able to reconnect with old friends that I was isolated from during the abuse and make new ones. I was able to go back to college. I'm finishing up my degree this year. I was able to move out of my parents' house completely and permanently and into an apartment of my own. And I'm now engaged to a wonderful man who I love and respect and who treats me with the tenderness and kindness that I deserve. We should aim for that to be every trans person's story and every victim survivor's story. And all of us can work together in our communities and in our friend groups to make that happen and to make my reality a reality for every other victim survivor. Thank you.